What's up, everybody? It's AJ Turn Up here. We are here at Bucks Report, and it is the aftermath right now. Of course, our season ended last week, but that doesn't mean that we still can't talk Buccaneer football. So, as you can already see, the Dallas Cowboys lost to the San Francisco 49ers. Big shock, huh? No, not really. And it just further gives me a lot of anxiety and frustration on how the Buccaneers really just played. And the performance was just unacceptable. And let's just start it like this. Dak Prescott is who we all thought who we thought we were. He was who we thought we he is who we knew he would never be. And that is a guy that can take his team to the next level. The 49ers defense, they played real football. They played better man. They rushed the pass. They good in pass rushing. And they took care of business. You know why? The most important thing that the 49ers did that the Bucks lacked was great coaching. The coaching, Shanahan came out there with a plan. And guys, this is what makes Shanahan a very good coach. He's done all that despite going through two different quarterbacks. This is his third quarterback. And this guy, no one knew who he was. If a lot of people tell you that they knew who Brock Purdy was, they're lying. He was Mr. Irrelevant. But what does Shanahan do that good coaches do? You take the best of your players' abilities and you utilize it. Because again, this is not about. I think the problem is with the Bucks coaching staff. It was a lot of ego involved, and everybody wanted to be right. The issue is, I think Bowles and Leftwich wanted to be on an Arians level so bad, not realizing good coaches again find a way to adjust, adapt, and add to a team despite losing everything. So that was the issue. Look at Dak throwing interception. The way that Dak played, honestly, that was Dak the first almost the first quarter when he played the Bucks. Don't get it twisted. In the beginning, Bowles was doing it right. Dak and the Cowboys were nervous against the Bucks in the first 8 minutes of the first quarter. But what happened? Bowles got too comfortable. Bowles got too lazy. And we are and once he started going into that cushion coverage, that was the end of the Bucks dominant defense because Carlton Davis is better at being a man press jamming receiver. And they didn't take advantage of the fact that CeeDee Lamb was their biggest weapon. If you wanted to put Sean Murphy Bunting on CeeDee Lamb, you could have done that because we all know Bowles has this love thing for SMB, which is fine. But what you want to do to take out a inept offense that the Cowboys had, you smother them. You don't even let them get a rhythm going. That is what pissed me off about Bowles. You allowed this team to get a rhythm, and once you allow the Cowboys to get a rhythm, of course Dak is going to go off. Any quarterback is going to go off. If we have not learned anything this season, we know that when Bowles does not play aggressive and he plays the bend but don't break method, that's when we get broken. PJ Walker did the exact same thing to us the first time we played Carolina. Teams with weak receiving cores, it is your job. I'm a firm believer in you make or average receivers work harder than they should. CeeDee Lamb, again, that's their best weapon. Slick had already said a perfect scheme that you could use to neutralize him. You have SMB jam him and put a safety over the top to help just in case SMB gets beat. What did Bowles do? All he did was allow the Cowboys to get in the rhythm. And once the run game started going, the run game really never got a big hold against the Bucks, but once on defense, we were getting tired. That was it. Dallas's defense, all they had to do was just sit back and rush Brady. And let's talk about that. We've talked about this before, but I'm trying to make a point here. Byron, again, with his same lame play calls, he is the reason why this offense continued to sputter. Now, we already talked about this, but let's just go into it again because I like the fact that, the Michael Parsons of the world, yeah, the cocky jerk, the immature guy. He didn't really have the best game in San Francisco. He wasn't dominant. You know why? Because they planned for him. Now, don't get me wrong. Um, of course, the 49ers, their line is a lot more solid than ours. I mean, they got the best left tackle in football, but we also have an elite right tackle, which is, I don't understand why Byron insisted on having. There are certain plays, if you go back to it, Bucks fans, you see that Byron was having the right side with the running back helping out worse. Worse don't need help. Donovan Smith was the guy that you needed to help. Whatever side that if Parsons ever went to the left side, your duty, Byron, was to chip and adjust or go max protection. Do not have any passing plays where it takes too long to develop in the beginning. Get the short crossing routes going. Get under crossing routes. Do something. Do quick outs. You failed by doing that, and that is why the Bucs looked miserable on offense. Is the same old BS, predictability, which is why you had to go. And I'm going to dedicate this part to Parsons because, again, for people out there who think he's the next LT, you're tripping. That's ridiculous. He ain't there yet. Is he an amazing talent? Absolutely, but he doesn't have it here, and he definitely doesn't have it here because he has been so caught up in the cowboy media hype that he is buying into what people think of him, and that is his problem. Instead of just working on his craft and developing himself better, he thinks he's already there when he's not. Because again, if you go watch the 49ers game, he didn't really have a dominating game. He made a few moments. I see there's something going around where a lot of people are really praising him for, giving an offensive lineman trouble, but that happens all the time. And he caught him at an angle. The way to beat Parsons is not by being finesse. You have to fight fire with him. You have to be physical. You have to chip him. You have to run him over. That is the kind of guy that as I said, he is a talent. Michael Parsons is a talent. You will never hear me say that he is not good, but there is a way to beat him. One of the biggest things to beat Michael Parsons is you got to beat him up here and in here. He doesn't like when people can match his energy or his intensity. So when you block him, you need to block him to run his ass over, not to just move him out the way. Your duty, any blocker or running back, if you're chipping, the way Fournette had him the first game of the season, that's what you do. Because he has an ego where when he gets put on his ass, he thinks he's the exception of the rule. And you can already tell the way that he tweets. Just look at how he carried himself after this loss. The first thing that went to his mind, let's see what he said. What did he say? He was saying, yeah, but you didn't do shit, but good game, Debo. First of all, Debo Samuels is going to the NFC Championship. Where the hell you going, Parsons? Your ass is staying home. You and your team. That's the most important thing. The Dallas Cowboys lost, not Michael Parsons. The Dallas Cowboys lost. As a team, you guys lost. You lost. Now I know a lot of people saying defense did the part. Yes, they did. And the offense, Dak is who he is. But again, on defense, they didn't take it to the next level either. They played stagnant defense, which is you're not doing bad, but you're not doing necessarily great either. You're just good. But it wasn't like this Cowboys defense was the 0-2 Bucs. Remember, the 0-2 Bucs always got a turnover, and they're the ones that ignited off the Bucs offense. Cowboys didn't do that. Look at Trey Davis dropping interceptions. So I just think the Cowboys were still on a high after beating us, but you beat a bad coach team. Whoop-de-doo. And I was telling everybody, I was telling a lot of Cowboy fans who was talking a lot of shit that if you go into this game thinking that you're going to beat the 49ers, because you beat the Bucs bad, you're you're not going to win this game. And they proved me right. And again, Parsons, he didn't really do anything. He wasn't a big factor. He got neutralized when he went up against a real left tackle. And Trent Edwards. Trent Edwards had him on lock, and he was just killing them with just good old fashioned finessing and skills. Parsons didn't have any answer for him. Again, Parsons is not the almighty. He's not even the best linebacker at his position. That is still Fred Warner. Fred Warner is the best linebacker at this point. And I want to go back to Parsons because, again, the way he is, it has a chump mentality. So the next thing is, listen to this bullshit. Live in a place where people praise your failures and criticize your success. Find love within yourself. You did that this morning, 9:20 a.m. So it shows me already you are literally like a social media IG honey. You literally have to feed off of a. So instead of just being quiet and just going to your team and saying, hey, defense team, whatever, we can't go out like this anymore. Let's figure out what we can do. I know the season's over, but hey guys, let's all just take a minute and look into ourselves and go, what can we do for next season to get better? Because for whatever reason, we always fall short when it comes to good coach teams. What can we do to get better? But instead, he always responds by going to the internet. And see, for me, I don't mind if you talk shit and you're being cocky. That is fine. But I want you to have the accountability to also accept the loss too. I'm not saying you got to go out and give this noble speech of saying, man, they did really good and we got to do the better. But at the same time, Parsons, you can't also bitch about stuff either. Like that was just a little soft ass message. Come on, man. I can read between the lines of that nonsense. Get out of your feelings, man. You're not there yet. You think you are because of the media and clout. Now, again, I would wish you could get on. I wish you would talk about how you messed up and didn't do your part. So Parsons, you got a lot of growing up to do, boy. And we have our buddy Slick is in the house. He's here to help. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I didn't think we were going to have a show today because of the whole Buccaneers thing, but I'm always down for a show, baby. I'm always down for a
Oh
show.
no, absolutely no. We definitely have to talk about this because you just missed my little spiel that I had
No, I
about.
didn't miss it. I had it on in the car when I was driving back.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So,
Micah Parsons.
yeah.
I can understand him being upset with how his team, his offense played and what have you. And he didn't take over the game. This is two playoff level teams going against each other. I'm seeing a trend of young football players not, I won't say willing to wait because that's not the phrase, want it all now. And there seems like a lot of wide receivers, not all of them, but there's certain players on teams. We saw Stefan Diggs had a bit of a pout as well. Sometimes where they're like, yeah, rightfully so. There's people like JJ Watt who don't even know what fucking championship looks like. Has no idea what it's like to even be in the championship game, let alone win a play. I don't think he's won a playoff game either.
I don't think so either.
Maybe, I don't know, but he's never experienced that, and he'll be renowned as one of the greatest DNs to ever play the game from a skill set point of view.
And here's the thing. People who know the game of football understand that this is a team sport, and that's why we give guys like him so much love and praise. It's like you did all of that despite the bad team. It's like Levante David. Levante has always excelled at a high level despite the teams around him. Again, a lot of people don't realize you don't control who the front office brings in. You don't control the politics of the team and organization or where they're heading. All you can do is play your best. And you are right. Because of these younger guys of the Parsons, they want to be more renowned instead of just playing at their best. See, Parsons, and especially going to Dallas, was one of the worst things. I say that because Cowboys Nation, they're uplifting him. The media likes to talk about them, Jerry Jones and all this. And it's like, Parsons, you are a very talented player. But Slick, we have seen this before. Again, I just think he is a more hyped Devin White. But if
I don't see him even as that, to be honest. He's definitely more of a edge rusher than he is a proper linebacker. He is definitely what I would call a hybrid of the two, which makes him useful in that sense because he can play the off. Well, I hate the phrase off the ball because all linebackers are technically off the ball,
Yeah.
but you know, 4 to 5 yards off the line of scrimmage, he can play there, but he probably excels more at a pass edge rushing defender, realistically.
Yeah.
But he can play both, which makes him useful because you can put him almost anywhere and he can cause disruption because it's like having a really good pass rusher that can play the down linebacker position, and then you can just move him around. It means the offense always has to account for him. He can't. It's like what you wanted the Buccaneers to do with Devin White and say, look,
Yeah.
why not? Let's have a look at what he looks like as a pass rusher, just to see what he's like as a pure pass rusher, and we'll put in KJ Britt next to Levante David and see how that looks. You had
Mhm.
opportunities to have a look at that. That was a combination they could have looked at in Atlanta, because it was a game that meant nothing. So why not experiment with combinations that you're unsure of that you can use? Because you want to have a good pass rush in the playoffs. We didn't have much of a pass rush, so
Nope.
it was worth looking just to even look at what does that really look like. Oh, yeah, it's trash. It doesn't work. Go back to what we were doing. It's fine. But that's what that game's there for. That's what I mean. They might have done it in practice. I don't know, but I doubt it.
I do too. I really do, and I'm glad we're here to talk about this because again, sometimes that's why you need new coaches because they bring in fresh ideas. I think a lot of people think that every professional coach thinks of everything we think of, and that might be true, but that doesn't mean that they implement what we talk about. How many
Mm.
times think that we say in the playoffs, wherever Parsons is lined up, you chip him or you double
I mean, you
Max?
can't keep them every time, but you want to do it a couple of times. And if
Yeah,
anything, and I've said this, me and you said this, and you really liked it when I said this, is you want to chip him and do the same thing that you did last time, just to rattle his cage enough that he does something stupid, because
that's
that's
right.
what you want. Once you've got him there, put a. If you're not going to chip him, then put a tight end next to Smith to give him that extra help.
That's right.
Little things like that help. I mean, their pass rush as a whole was decent anyway, but we felt more comfortable with a Jensen in there. I think Shaq Mason has regressed. If I'm honest, I think I haven't seen anything from him to say that he is as good as he was. Um, I think that's probably why we got him for a nickel. We didn't really have to spend very, very much in draft capital to get hold of him, which for a Pro Bowl level guard. But then Bill Belichick's got an incredibly amazing ability to find out when a player's dried up, except for Tom Brady. But
Yeah,
for the most part, he's been able to turn around and go. We see people go there. They've had a on and off career. They go to New England. They reinvent themselves. LeGarrette Blunt's a perfect example. He goes there. He just dominates from a pure power short yardage situations and banging it in the end zone. He leaves there and he can't catch a break. He's okay, but he goes back to what he was like when he was with Tampa. He's just okay.
well,
He's an okay running back.
he had one decent year with the Eagles. That's the year I think
Mm-hmm.
they won the Super Bowl with him and Jair. Um,
But he
but
just
I
turned
get
back
what
into a pumpkin.
yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's just, good coaches know how to utilize them. As you said, Belichick knew how to use Legarrette and said, "This is what you're going to be good at, and we know what you're good at. We use
Mm-hmm.
this." And then, like you said, all right, you're done. We can't afford to use you like that anymore. And that is what we were just saying about the Bucs offense. We just wanted to see creativity. We want to see imaginations, not the same bland predictability to put yourself in a bad position. Because look, if we would have continued to play aggressive like we were the first 8 minutes of the game, that Dak would have been the same Dak that the Niners. If you looked at it, the
Mm-hmm.
Niners were playing fierce. And their secondary, I like them, but let's be real. The Bucs and 49ers, when it comes to secondary wise, it's not like the 49ers are way beyond the Buccaneers. They don't have an Antoine Winfield in a safety. What
No.
they have better is a linebacker in Fred Warner and the other guy, and a better pass rush. But overall, the Bucs continue to play physical and overwhelm that receiving core. The Bucs could have they wouldn't have blown them out, but they could have been victorious. There's nothing that I looked at Dak this week.
I say it was momentum that kind of swung it for us. I mean, obviously, you don't want to think that, but this team, you've seen them when they go down by more than 2 scores, it's done. Like it's over. If they're done by 2 scores, it's over. They've never got back into it. It's the belief gets kind of shook out of them, and then they play as shadows of themselves. That's how it seems to me, anyway.
I
Um,
I agree. I think and also the vibe that I kind of get from Bowles, if he doesn't get earlier turnovers or anything like that, like you said, if it is a momentum thing. Like let's say if the Bucks get an interception and they get a turnover or something and
keep
but the
going.
offense scores, the defense
That's what I
probably
mean.
would come back stronger. But once that's why
That's why I said the whole game was that
yeah.
interception that Tom Brady threw. It kind of just game
Oh
was
yeah,
done.
that zapped us. That I do agree. That was the turn. That's when I knew this was bad. I said, well, damn.
That was a really agonizing drive up the field. It wasn't quick. It wasn't methodical. It was just like drip, 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 drip. And we slowly got it all the way up there. And so, right, now we got our chance. This is our reply. Hasn't been as smooth as the Dallas one, but it put hope. And hope is a powerful thing. It puts hope. We can still do this. When
That's
that gets
right.
kicked off, you got that huff, and you think, okay, well, at least they don't have to defend a lot, a short field. But then there's that belief, oh, fuck, are we going to score today? And if your offense has been sputtering and stuttering all season long, because defense knows when the offense is struggling. Trust me. I've been on sidelines where the offense has been dropping the fucking ball, or they've been dropping the ball on the floor, or they've not been catching balls, or they're given a short fields to defend. They're all discussing it amongst themselves. Fucking hell, I wish they'd fucking keep it right.
Right.
Go, fuck. And you obviously know you have to, as a coach, they're like, shut the fuck up. We're all in this together. Like, don't you fucking say shit like that. And then when the defense gives it up, you can hear the offense whispering. I can hear them in their little fucking huddle going, "Oh, if only the defense could stop the fucking outside run or something like that." Like you're thinking to yourself, yeah, but you guys aren't exactly fucking doing it. And that's what happens on losing teams. Losing teams, it's terrible because both sides are like pointing fingers at each other, going, "Well, we're losing because you're shit."
Yep. And that's why you need that one guy to unify. We're both fucking up. What can we do to change this? That's why I like when a player yells at not just the defense, but he yells at the entire team. He gathers them up to say, guys, we both are fucking up right now. You're right. We didn't see that in that Dallas Tampa game. We just saw I think they just went into autopilot fuck mode. Like, up here we go. We're done. After that Brady interception, like you said, that sunk us because normally that's not Brady-esque. Normally
Yeah,
Brady's
right. You could tell he was shitting himself on that throw.
Yes. I like that we can acknowledge that because I like talking to Rick and them, but we are still human. You can't say that certain things will not get to a player. That is again, Slick. Remember, let's say Slick, you're the greatest coach of where you're from.
Right.
You already know the publicity you're gonna have to go through and endure.
Mm-hmm.
And that shit isn't always. I love how people think that doesn't get to you. To a certain extent, it would. Can you imagine?
This is such a unique situation because, and I know everyone says, "Oh, what people have wives and girlfriends," and as I said to Rick, it's not Giselle though. You know what I'm saying? We're not talking some Instagram model or some girl he's been with since high school. We're talking about a fucking supermodel of the fucking world who's worth as much as him, or if not more than him.
Yeah, she was worth more.
She is. They are considered a power couple in America. It's not like they're just a fucking boyfriend and girlfriend. Like
right.
JJ Watt and his wife. Yeah, JJ Watt's wife is a famous soccer player. That's a kind of sporting power couple. But they are like a celebrity power couple. You know, they walk through fucking Hollywood Boulevard and everyone knows who the fuck they are.
That's
JJ
right.
Watt will get known by football fans. Everybody knows who Giselle and Tom Brady are. That's a much bigger deal. And then there's the dynamic of what's happening with. We don't know why. We don't know. I can't say that any of us, if we've had tragedy or we've had something go wrong in our lives, that we can turn around and say, "Oh, at work I was a fucking boss." Some people throw themselves into work and it helps them get through shit. And some people can't. They just can't process it. I've seen people go through divorces. They were fucking, I wouldn't say useless at work, but they weren't nowhere near as productive.
Right,
because
and that's
thinking too much.
yeah, and that's all, and that's what I was trying to explain. As you said, those aren't just two regular people, and this is Tom Brady. This is the GOAT of
Mm-hmm.
GOATs. This is the guy that, again, so everything happens because of him. We've seen certain days that so sports medias are bored and they bring up the most randomest shit just because it's Tom Brady. And then can you throw into the side? That's why I want to like your ex-wife now all of a sudden might have been fucking around your back with a teammate. That cuts deep in the locker room. And
Mm-hmm.
even though he's not there, that is a humiliation thing too that you don't understand. Like it's like that's why when men say that shit, it's like, okay, bro, let's say you were on a team. Next thing you know, the guy on your team that you embraced, that you let stay over, you found out he was possibly having relations with the woman that you were married to. And mind you, he's
I don't
bragging
buy
on
that
you.
anyway, to be honest. I think that's a load of bollocks. I think
I
she's got
get it,
way
but
more taste.
that's an extra headache though that I would
Yeah,
not
oh,
want
for
to deal
sure,
with.
for sure.
It's like,
For,
damn,
absolutely, for sure. It's just like, but even though it's not even the act of doing anything and knowing that it's the fact that some people might believe it,
right,
right? It doesn't matter. It can be completely factually untrue. You only have to insinuate it, and people go, "Hmm, it, it could have. Oh, they've got divorced. I mean, I don't think Giselle would look at him in any way of thinking. She probably didn't even fucking want him there, to be brutally honest. She's like, this I
right, right.
fucking family
And
house, get the fuck out of here.
exactly, and that's why I'm just saying we are all human. It can go. And when he said when Rick was saying that nobody's ever gone through that yeah, but you're talking about years ago too, where social media wasn't as strong either in the early 2000s.
Everyone's commenting on your social life, your
Right.
married life. They've already got him pegged with a girl that supposedly just looked in his direction last. So he's dating this Tom Brady's supposed girlfriend. Tom Brady might be saying, "I've never fucking met this girl,
Right. What if she just commented and he just said thank
Veronica
you?
Rajek or something,
Yes.
whatever
And
the
she's married
Instagram model or whatever."
anyway. And
And
that,
she's doing it for publicity because she knows if she associates herself with Tom Brady, she gets clicks and likes. She's a social media influencer. If she turns around and says, I really like Tom Brady, and then what did all the media say? Look at this smoking hot, beautiful woman dressed in Tom Brady's jersey, and there's a picture of her. Like the rest of the pictures are in
exactly.
fucking bikinis. We're all clicking, we're all liking, we're all subscribing, and she sat there going, "Thank you."
Exactly. And I like again, and I like that you also talked about comparing it to work. Now, mind you, Tom Brady goes to work and then he has to deal with the incompetent ass employee of a Byron Leftwich. Now you got to add on the fact, damn, I'm trying to make the best of this situation, but this guy he's really not putting me in the best position. Run, screen, play action sometimes. Wait a minute, let's do this. You're leaving me out to dry. So now my line, and I'm glad we are both, me and you are both on the same page. I don't want to hear shit about the Bucks and the line.
See, this
Look,
is the thing I wanted to talk about. I was driving in my car today, and I wanted to
yeah,
do this with you, and I thought it'd be a good segment.
yes,
You got 100% of the blame, right? I
yep,
want you to segment your blame, and you can't just go 100% Byron. I want you to segment your blame of why the offense was poor. So give percentages on each thing. So I'm going to say
okay,
a reason, and you're going to go 10%, 20%, whatever, and then give me a little bit of detail of why you went that high or that low.
I
So
got
let's go offensive line.
offensive line. I'm gonna go. I'm only gonna give them 35% of the blame.
Okay.
35% because we already talked about how statistically almost every damn body in the playoffs had a
Mm-hmm.
shittier line than the Bucs. And I actually commend this line because a lot of guys played out of their positions and they did the best that they could. The line statistically still protected Brady. Now we know that he'll throw the ball away quick, but even still, that's also an indictment to Brady. You didn't
Mm-hmm.
allow the Buccaneers, you didn't allow your line to get shit going. So you throwing the ball away, you did that to them. You undermined them because of your lack. Hell, if I'm the line, of course you can't be mad at Brady publicly, but in a
Mm-hmm.
way, what if they said, "Shit, Brady, we're holding up. Make something happen. Stop throwing the shit away." Because now
Mm-hmm.
you're wasting it down. And then you put extra pressure on us because now they definitely going to release the hounds because they know we're third and long or second and long.
Mm-hmm.
Like, damn it, Brady, stop that shit. So 35% of the blame goes to the line. I'm not. The line did a better job than what I thought. I was actually scared as shit when Stenny went down. I almost went into full panic. But then
Mm-hmm.
I'd say after 3 games, I'm like, this line ain't that bad.
No. I mean, Pro Football Focus has Nick Leverett at, I think he is. Give me a second. I got to count because it doesn't rank them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13th best, considering he doesn't play center until this year.
Right.
That, that
Yeah.
ain't that ain't half bad. Yes, Luke Geteke, and I've tried to say this to people. Well, they go, "Oh, but Ali Marpet was like, you're not going to hit on an Ali Marpet person. Ali Marpet was unique. He was a fucking gold mine freak. Look at the other guys. We've drafted more than one guard. We
Mm-hmm.
drafted more than two guards. Only one of them is considered a Pro Bowl Hall of. I mean, I'd say if he continued his career, he probably could have knocked on the Hall of Fame door, but I don't want to get down that because it's not going to happen. I don't know, do want to do what ifs, but he was All Pro, Pro Bowler, Super Bowl champion, big contract, and he wanted to walk away from it and go, look, I got my health. I've achieved all the things I needed to achieve to prove that I could play in the National Football League. I'm walking away from it.
And he
Great.
did. He
And
did.
he did. But you're not going to hit on a guy like that all the time. You've got to
No.
also, he was an absolute freak. There's no way that guy should have been as good as he should on paper. If you were to do that draft now, he's probably a first round pick.
Yes. And he never will be in Tampa. If they would have
Exactly.
known.
Yeah, he would never be in Tampa. So you can't give Luke Geteke a bust. Some people are already calling him a bust. And I'm like, you can't give him that because this is his first year as a guard. He's transitioning from tackle to guard, which is a big difference. And secondly, he was only meant to be a backup that would eventually push for that position. It was supposed to be Stinney's job until he was ready to either take over or he would be depth for X amount of years.
Exactly. You
So
have to think
I
about
don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that stuff about. And also, this guy played in the MAC, and yes, I know that he played for Hobart College, which is a Division Three school. As I said, freak occurrence. Let's look at Alex Kappa. It wasn't until his third year that he started.
to look good. Yeah, to look
I
decent.
mean, actually started. He was a backup for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and he got in and got in and got in and got better. He got injured a couple of times, I believe, as well. But that's the difference. Not everyone you're going to draft. Everyone seems to think if they draft somebody, they need to be an instant hit. Your first 2 picks are your starters. The next 2 picks are your depth. Your
And
final picks are your experiments.
mm-hmm. And even with
That's
your
all I
first 2
draft
picks.
1 and 2.
Yep.
They're starters or emerging. One's good if you've got a low end second round pick. It's an emerging starter. Then you've got your thirds and fourths. They're your backups. Your fifths is like a special starter where I
Mm-hmm.
would go, and then your sixths and sevenths are generally guys that will either do a certain job, special teams, potential depth player down the line.
Yeah.
That's how it works. People seem to think you should hit on 7th round picks all the time. No one does. Look it up. I had a big thing where I was like, you know what? Everyone says that our general manager, this was before we got Brady, that he's not very good at finding talent and what have you. So I decided to look at a team that's known for having good talent, the Seattle Seahawks. This is going back a few years. The amount of picks, other than that 1-2 drafts that he got Richard Sherman and those guys out of, so the 2012 and 2013 draft, were lots of whiffs. First rounders, second rounders, third rounders across the board. And they've had the same general manager the whole time. So it's not like they had a new general manager come in and they've had to change shit.
Right.
It is what it is. Drafting is so difficult. People there's no algorithm to get it right. And as people, I remember people when we lost this game, there were people going, oh, I wish we just bossed the game, but fucked the games off and just got a good draft pick. And I was like, okay. So what I always believe is you're basically saying how many people do you think you're going to re-sign if you don't make the playoffs?
Exactly.
The playoffs gives them hope that they're in a fucking good team.
Exactly.
If you tank and they know you're tanking, I don't want to know. If I was a player, I don't want no fucking part of it. They go, Steve, we want to renew your contract. I'd be like, nah, I've got to look elsewhere. Well, first
Right.
I'll check the offer, because if the offer's ridiculous money, then I'll say, well, I'll test free agency, see what I get, and I'll come back to you.
Agreed. Agreed. And also, yeah, shit. Sometimes coaches can go, I don't want to be a part of this shit. I'll go somewhere else because you're not gonna make
We had
my
coaches
impact.
retired. There's a reason they retired. They're like, I'm fucking done with this shit.
Yeah. And that's
You
what
know what I mean?
yeah, and that's what people don't get. Players do not want to tank. First of all, we already discussed this. You tank and new regime come in, you're gonna be unemployed. They're gonna see
Mm-hmm.
loafing, they're gonna go, what? And also the NFL is a community. Other teams, with whatever you do, other organizations will see that. You
Mm-hmm.
you can literally tank your way out of a job because of that. So when that's why those NFL players they get pissed when they get accused of loafing because now it's like no, that's my livelihood that you're putting out
Mm-hmm.
there. So
And
this
nobody wants to be. They don't care about what draft pick we get next. Levante David does not give a shit what draft pick the Buccaneers have. Devin
exactly
White doesn't give a shit about our draft position. Tom Brady doesn't give a shit about our draft position. You'll be hard pushed to find one player in any NFL locker room who's out there going, but if we keep tanking, boss, we can get that fucking super amazing quarterback that you was over there. Fuck it, let's tank. I'm for it. No one's that. It goes against everything of your core being. It should go against everything of your core being as a coach.
I agree
Front
100%.
offices want to tank. Coaches reluctantly do it if there's enough pressure on them. Players don't want to tank. That's why. What do they do when they tank? They take players out. They put the duds. They put the duds and suds in
And see,
because
but
they know they will not be able to. You saw it against Atlanta.
yep.
You took out the starting lineup for a good chunk of the plays. We couldn't do shit.
No, we was
The difference between an NFL second tier versus even the shittest team first tier, there's still a big difference.
yeah. And these guys still got to know the game, but no, I like that. So yeah, but overall, 35% of the line.
35%,
I'm
right.
not giving them
What
that.
about what about your boy or our faithful quarterback, Thomas Edward Patrick Beatty Jr.? How much of the blame are you going to give him?
40%. I'm going to give him 40. The reason why I'm going to give him 40, again, the biggest chunk of the 40 is throwing the ball away too quick and not allowing plays to
AJ, you might
progress.
have a problem now
What's
because
up?
you do realize you only have like 25% left. You got to go
Oh
for
shit. Oh
100%.
yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Damn. Yeah.
I was like,
I
what?
thought you
What
were
are you going to
adding.
give Byron?
Okay. No. So the line. If that's the case,
Yeah, we're going to add it up to 100.
okay. If that's the case, the line is give 15. Brady will give. I'm going to give Brady 25.
25.
Brady will be 25.
Okay.
And the 25. The biggest reason is because when he throws the ball away too quick, that pisses me off. That pissed
That's
me
a
off
thing.
because there were times if we've watched the games where my man, if you would have just looked the fuck up and stepped into the pocket, Godwin was wide open. If you looked up and stepped into the pocket, Otten was open. If you really looked up, Evans was open. Again, Brady, I understand you are older, but this is the nature of the beast. You're gonna have to take some shots. You're gonna have to get hit a few times. All these other guys, these other quarterbacks understand that because if you don't, you already set it. Momentum. If your guys see that you're playing scared, that's gonna piss them off, make them not believe. Because I'm
I,
here to tell you,
I think you're onto something because I think the biggest relationship we've got between the most what's the best word for it, most experienced players on our offense is Mike Evans and Tom Brady, right? They're the lone two really that has the most amount of experience on that squad. You could see, I'm gonna say there was a rift, but it just didn't feel like they were on the same page. I think it got to a point where I think they were going, you can come at, when there's videos of him screaming and literally the players were ignoring him and they were like, oh my God, like fucking no one gives a shit what Tom thinks anymore. And it might be because they're looking at, dude, you're fucking throwing away the ball. Like, you can't get after us and say we need to be more intense and we need to fucking play our best stuff when you ain't.
exactly. Stop throwing it away. And again, that can take away the rhythm of it, the passion of an offense. As you said, let
Mm-hmm.
Mike. That's why Evans was so gung ho on knocking Lattimore on his ass in the beginning of the season. We realized that was the earliest part of the season because we thought after that the Bucs they were gonna go up. I'm sitting here like, yo, the Bucs might go on a fucking 7-game win streak
That's
because
exactly what I thought.
we thought, and then it didn't turn out that way. But this
How
is
do
where
this team had beaten the Saints in. They hadn't swept the Saints since 2007, I believe.
Yep, you're
They've
right.
been swept by the Saints 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
They always seem to have their number. Doesn't matter who's at quarterback. That's the
Yep.
embarrassing, but that's embarrassing. You finally get one. You finally get one, and I'm like, this is going to ignite them. That's honestly, I was in all my shows saying this should ignite them because they've done something that they hadn't done before. This group of players, they hadn't done it before. Didn't
And
happen.
and they just
No,
they
and I
just
kind of went, okay, well, okay. The next game was Green Bay, and we're fucking out wide receivers. I don't even think that's a bad. I didn't even think that was a bad loss, mainly because no one had good wide receivers, and the Buccaneers still had an opportunity to win it. They just didn't get it in the end. It was the 2 point conversion that never was. Something to do with a fucking jumbotron or some shit. But that's irrelevant. You
Mhm.
know, it's yeah. The thing with Tom Brady I found was throwing away and then throwing at people's feet. There's a lot of underthrown balls. Like there were a couple of times he was throwing deep, and then you just turn around, you'd see wide receivers turning around, and I'm like, why is that at his feet?
Yes.
You throw him deep, and a guy's running downfield. He ain't gonna stop, turn around, and catch it at his feet. It's just not gonna happen.
Yes, and it also went with the deep ball because you can tell sometimes when he launched it, he was launching it just so he wouldn't get hit. There were times the first 2 years, Brady, when he threw that deep ball, it was superb, but he also threw into it because he wasn't, he was willing to take that hit if it happened. You didn't
Yeah,
see that, and that's why he overthrew Evans a lot, or he didn't want to take that shot. And I can see Evans like, man, just throw the fucking ball. I got this. I'm Mike fucking Evans. I will take care of that.
but you can
And
see he's so humble of a guy that he just kind of shrugs his head, looks down, walks off, and then you can see them have a discussion. I've seen him get a little bit more pointed with Tom this
yes,
year.
yeah, because he
But
was
I've
frustrated.
always been of the mindset that Tom Brady doesn't trust Mike Evans because he doesn't like that style of playing. It's too risky. It's too gung ho. He likes those clean routes and those in breaks. That's why Chris Godwin will always be
His
from a Buccaneer point his favorite kind of guy to go to because
Exactly. But and that's the thing, but and that's why Brady has to, that's why Arians was so good for him. He tried to break him out of that shit and said, no, we're not gonna always win like that. We can put up that's why we put up so many points our second year, because we were blowing motherfuckers up, because it was like, no, you're gonna have to stop this or we're gonna keep shitting on you. And that puts pressure on an opposing team's defense or their offense. Like if we can't match them, we're going to lose. The Bucs' second season was literally their best offense. I say people were like, really? I'm like, yes,
it
because
was potent. I mean,
yeah,
sometimes we went up and down that field. It was fucking a
with
joke.
ease, with
Oh,
ease.
absolute ease, and it's insane to say. Like when the preseason games came in, you saw the preseason games. You saw like Tom Brady going to be like touchdown. Next, it'd be like the next preseason game. Tom Brady has like the whole of the fight done, done.
You're right.
You said
You
like, if they wanted to score, they scored. It felt almost. There's only a couple of games. Jets is one of them, which is surprising. One of the Carolina games where it it wasn't quite as smooth, and obviously both Saints games wasn't quite as smooth. But for the most part, the Dolphins game is one that you can come back to. That was just bang, 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 bang. Thank you very much.
the Bears game was, it wasn't, we embarrassed them so bad. They questioned Justin's field mentality because he was pouting. But that's what we were doing. Arians had a way of saying, no, we're gonna put up points. We dare your offense to match ours, and they couldn't. They couldn't match it. And
I tell you,
you could clearly see this year that that wasn't the case. But Brady, again, I'm still only going to give him 20. So we're at I'm not gonna lie, we're at 35. The rest, the rest is going to dumbass Byron.
okay, well, no, we got the running backs.
Running backs, I'm not giving them any blame.
We give
I mean,
0% of
no, running backs, I'm only going to go with 5%. The only reason I'm going to do 5 is because Rachaad White was a rookie. I honestly did not even expect him to be excel as much as he did. He showed a lot in the game of the Seahawks. The way he was explosive, the way that he could maneuver. If anything, Fournette in a way regressed after the Cowboys game. He didn't show the same type of fire and explosive. And when he didn't pick a hole, he was just dancing the shit. And I'm like, come on. The only thing that Fournette did this entire season that I will say that he did better than Rashad, but that's only by a little, is pass block, because he knew how to do that shit and he can get under your skin. But I'm not gonna really the running backs. The running backs don't get that much blame over here. So I can honestly say Rashad White actually excelled. What's up, Keith?
Hey guys,
how's it going, brother?
how are we doing tonight?
We're doing good. We're doing a percentage of the blame for the offense.
Oh, the percentage of blame for the offense?
Yes.
Well, I mean, the fish rots from the head up, down. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got to say about that.
There. Hold your load. We getting there.
Oh, but I got a question.
Yes.
Do you guys have? Did you guys hear the Tom Brady podcast tonight?
I didn't. I wasn't.
Yeah, he said something like he's got a lot to fucking think about. I think it was the word he said, or something like that.
Well, I want to play this because, like I told you guys off here, I got some shit I got to deal with here. But if you don't mind, I'd like to play the clip real quick for you, and you guys talk about it whenever you want. But here's what I'll say, Tom, we get it. You don't want. Oh, and by the way, hi everybody. You don't want to be constantly asked a question, but dude, you're the only one that can answer it. And I will say this: I can see you being pissed off, Tommy, if you're like on CBS or being interviewed by somebody and they keep asking it. But this is your podcast, bro. You couldn't have told the co-host, hey, don't ask me that. Anyway, check this clip out. And I want to hear and kind of see your all's reaction because it doesn't sound like you've heard it yet. All right. So this is from the Let's Go podcast on Apple and iTunes and blah, blah, blah.
Tom, you're leaving everybody guessing. You said you'll take your time. Do you have any type of a timetable as to what you might want to do regarding your football career?
Jim, if I knew what I was going to fucking do, I'd have already done it. Okay? I'm taking it a day at a time.
I sense you're antagonized by the question.
You're scratching.
It's only the question that everybody wants to hear.
You're scratchy. I appreciate your asking. Thank you.
Anyway, I thought that was, well, first of all, kind of cool, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I wish they would answer that way in press conferences more. And I wish people would ask questions more like that. Anyway, guys, so we're casting blame on the offense, right? And are you working your way up? Is that what you're telling me, AJ?
Well, we got 15% on the offensive line. We got 20% on the QBs, 5% on the running back. We're just about to go wide receiver, then Byron left, which will basically be whatever's left.
Okay, and then can we put it all on Bulls because he's in charge? Anyway, that's a whole nother episode. You guys, as usual, doing a great job. I just wanted to play that clip for you because
it's relevant.
Again, Tom, much respect. 3 years have been great. If you're not coming back, cool, I get it. But dude, you don't think they're going to ask a fucking question and you can't control your own podcast? I mean, it's not the Jim Gray podcast. It's the Tom Brady fucking podcast, right?
Yep.
I'll give you my take on this.
But
that was coerced. That was all made up. That was all.
And see, that's where I go. I think it's the genius of Tom Brady. This is his way of telling the media, quit fucking asking me.
Yep. Well, here's my only response. I made a response. You guys can check it out. And
let's go find it.
It's called A Message to Tom Brady on AJ. It's about bucking time. I said what I said, and it's not even that long. It's like 2 minutes. I said what I said, and I hope somebody in Brady's camp sends that to him and he looks at that shit, because it's one of those things, like you just said. I appreciate you, Tom. You have taken us out of the dark ages. 3 straight playoffs. We haven't seen the likes of that since Dungy. We haven't seen that since Dungy era. Even the great Gruden has never given us back-to-back playoffs. We appreciate that, but you come back, you come correct. Now you got to do whatever you got to do. Make whatever adjustments you got to make. But we were just talking about it, Keith. That throwing to people's feet shit, that throwing the ball, that skedaddle throwing the ball away, that shit got to stop. I know you about to be 46. You need to talk to Sylvester Stallone or Arnold Schwarzenegger's bodybuilding people and get some muscle on that frail body and take some of these fucking hits. Every quarterback knows, take a hit. You take a hit for your team, they're going to respect that. Can you imagine one of the Jensen seeing the guy hitting Brady, but Brady gets up like a G. Jensen will never let that happen again. Jensen will be like, nobody will ever fucking touch him again.
Well, and here's the thing, in my take, and I'm with you, AJ, and ladies and gentlemen, you'll have to excuse AJ. No, you don't have to excuse me. You know why? He's got that passion. That's what he's bringing. And that's what this show's about. So, hey, all you people watching, yeah, there's like 87,000, right? Wink, wink. hit that video. It's in the comment section on YouTube, guys. Hit that video link. Come enjoy these guys. Here's where I'm at. Hey, Brady, if you're not sure about football and you can't 100% commit to it, and let's be honest, after watching these games this last weekend, you need a quarterback that can move around a little bit. It's fair to say. So, Tom, if football's you're not 100% sure, I got an idea. I'm thinking baseball.
First down, goal from the 10. Come on, Bucs.
That's the wrong video. Anyway, the video of him sliding in, trying to take the guy's fucking legs out.
Oh, yeah.
Tom, what the fuck are you doing, bro?
Yeah, well, first of all, that was dumb on his part because if, let's say, a 300-pound guy accidentally steps on your leg, now you really play.
Ball falls on top of his ass.
Yep. So it's one of those things. We said it again. If you're gonna come in, you
got to be all in.
You got to be all in. If you want to, and I'll say, because I'm gonna try to condense this because we'll talk about it another time. But if you want to have control of the entire offense, this is fine. You've earned that right. But once once you have gotten what you want, you have to give in. You have to put all in. Now, Rick was right. We need the 2020 and 2021 time.
That's what we need. We need that practicing at the park, and off campus, all that shit.
And again, if we know he's not going to change his ways of being mobile, but that also will put pressure on Light. He's going to have a 2020 draft, a lottery bowl. Like 2020 was that was one of our greatest drafts. Wirfs, Winfield, them two right there, knockouts right there.
Yep.
And like you said, those were starters from the jump. You're gonna have to. So I already said it. Brady comes back, you draft a first round left tackle. He's got to be a stud, and that means Smith, you're fighting for this position because for all we know, it might light a fire under his ass, or it's like this: before you come back on the team, Smith, I need you to go to therapy. Seriously,
yeah, because there's something wrong, man. That's a whole nother topic. Donovan Smith talk about he's got issues. Okay, and trust me, what it is you're battling with, much respect. Please take care of that, man. Please, that's what's important.
Facts.
But you're about to have another issue, and that's going to be a competition in training camp. Because if you look at the draft board, the way all the mocks, these simulators are going now, and granted, there's a whole lot of dominoes got to fall, right? But the way the simulators are showing, when the Bucs pick, if they stay at 19, there's going to be the three players that are right in that area consistently on most of these simulators is a tackle, an interior defensive lineman, and a regular linebacker, not an outside edge, just regular linebacker, right? So head and shoulders, they're going to take that tackle, especially with what they've gone through this season, and they need depth. They need it's almost like the Bucs need a rotation on the offensive line. You feel me? Because tell me when we haven't been injured or had issues with it.
That's actually going to be a blessing for us because we forget Stenny will be healthy. Jensen will be healthy. So I would say get 2 tackles in the draft and call it a day. And now if you want to, because we do need an edge, we do need another fucking pass rush because we don't know what Shaq is going to be like coming off that major injury. Now we can pray that he can have
the other guy that is JTS isn't exactly
that's what I'm saying. So you get at left tackle because that's what Brady's going to want. And we might hit the lotto again because Light is a hell of a GM. I don't give a shit what nobody says. That is the best GM we have ever had outside of McKay, getting Brooks and Warren. But Light is that guy. Look at his accolades. Mike Evans, Hall of Fame. Tristan Wirfs, potential Hall of Famer. Ali Marpet was on the way.
Antoine Jr., Chris Godwin.
Yeah, Chris Godwin, Devin White, Vita Vea.
Carlton Davis.
Jamel Dean. These guys,
Antoine Winfield Jr.
Whitehead.
like
Winfield Jr. Throw the juices up.
Yeah, Light is that guy. So if Brady does come back and he says, "I want the best tackle in the draft," you don't think Light is gonna find a way to move up just in case? Because it like other teams will be looking for linemen as well. Light will fuck around and get us from 19 to 10 or something, and we give up like a measly like third or fourth, and he finds a way. Light knows how to do his thing. So I told people this on a podcast before years ago. I said, when we got Wirfs that year, I said, we're winning the Super Bowl. I said, Wirfs is a stud. I couldn't believe we got Wirfs. I couldn't believe it. So
he's the prototypical tackle. He's going to be a stalwart, cornerstone, all the cliches you want to throw. That's Christian Wirfs. And the guy weighs what, 3 1/4?
Yeah.
Somewhere in that area, and can jump out of a pool full of water. Dude, I have to use the handrail to get out of the pool walking up steps, bro. You feel me? But yeah, hey, I wanted to jump on and tell you guys doing a great job. Want everybody to get fired up. The off season at Bucs Report is the fun season. Look for mock drafts, draft profiles, free agent speculation. It's the silly season, boys. Also, there's rumor that the first Bucs Report mock draft includes a quarterback whose nickname after a firearm. So there's that.
Oh God. Oh Lord. Yes. Yes. That ain't. Gosh. Oh Lord.
Now, to save face, next to that is a big parentheses with the word project.
Yeah.
Because that's all we'll give away of the guy's article. I don't want to ruin it for everybody. But we're at that season, guys. So always look out for these live notifications from these guys. Always look out for the live notifications from all of us on the YouTube and across there. But head to bucksreport.com. There's a lot of good stuff. Breaking news, all that BS, speculation and analysis. I mean, if somebody says something relevant, we report it because we're Bucs Report. All right, I'm out. Enjoy, boys.
No problem. Now that's cool, but we gonna stay on top. Was the receivers gonna be the next grade?
The receivers next grade.
I'm giving them a 0. They
You're
did.
giving them
Hell yeah. Look at it like this: Evans and Godwin are still 1,000-yard receivers. Evans is still on track to do things that other receivers haven't done. Godwin came back from a major nasty injury and produced. Russell, was he a disappointment? I would say $30 million or whatever we paid him. He didn't get to the expectations, but he also wasn't healthy. So I'm going to cut him some slack.
I think he looked pretty good. I mean, I don't know what his stats were for the rest of the season, but
he had like 500 yards and 5 touchdowns or something.
Oh, yeah, I know touchdown leader.
Yeah, our touchdown leader was Evans with 6. But he did good with 5. He got like 540 something receiving yards and 5 touchdowns. Yeah,
I mean, he's technically the third choice wide receiver, I guess. So that's kind of normal stats. Exactly. What you expected. Realistically, for a slot receiver, that's your pure slot, I guess.
Yeah.
500 yards ain't bad.
No,
it's not great, but considering he missed time, that should have been more closer to 7 and maybe another touchdown or 2 tacked on to the end of it.
Yep.
That's I'll take that. I'll take it.
And I like Auden.
Mm-hmm.
Auden was a project where I think he's going to excel and he's going to get better. He's going to get better. So I'm not blaming the receiver. And Julio, he was who I thought he was going to be, a reserve guy. So I didn't have that much stock in Julio.
No.
Again, it wasn't if anything, the receivers were the biggest, brightest hope of this season. We were thinking,
because guess what? We only scored when we were receiving the fucking football. So
exactly. The funny thing is, our 2 best games on offense, one we lost and one we won, was the Panthers and the Chiefs. To be honest, that was the Chiefs game. Was actually one of the only times I said, "Wow." You see, I'm like, you see what happened?
I'll put the Bengals in that though because
I'm sorry, the Bengals too. Yes, so 3. But yeah, the Chiefs, even despite us, the Chiefs actually were like, I'm glad we got up early because the Bucs were moving on them throughout the game where the Chiefs defense was getting exposed. And I told everybody the Chiefs don't have really that good of a defense. Brady and them was
Burrow,
getting
we trust.
Yeah, it was just too late. By the time we got in the rhythm, it was way too late. The Bengals, that was the best half that we had the entire season. We had the Bengals like, oh shit, we better get it together. I guarantee you, Burrows went back in that locker room and said, "You motherfuckers better get this right. This team, I don't want to lose to Brady." So, and the Panthers obviously because we finally took advantage of a situation. So the receivers, if anything, I commend them. I commend the receivers for all the shit that they had to go through.
So that leaves us with our last guy, and obviously we all know what that is. That's 60% on Byron Leftwich.
Fuck yeah, absolutely.
I've got mine slightly different. So I've got offensive line 20%, mainly because there was just some really poor blocking up front to begin with. Donovan Smith was up and down. I wasn't, and because of that poor blocking, made Tom Brady worse, in my opinion. It got him unconfident.
Yeah,
that's not the point, but it kind of marries itself with Tom Brady at 25%. Simple reason is the guy was way too panicked, freaked out too easily, threw the ball away. I've got the running backs for 5% because the running game wasn't particularly great, which you can put on the O-line as well, which is why they're on 20%. But they weren't, especially Leonard Fournette did take a bit of regression. Just didn't feel right. I just want to get this run game right because we haven't had a 1,000-yard rusher since 2015. And I'm giving 5% to the wide receivers because there were some ugly drops. And I'm not talking about the ones that when Tom Brady, there was a couple where Tom Brady threw decent balls and Mike Evans or Chris Godwin would drop balls. And I think that's later as the season got on, that's tend to stop. And it was more due to Tom's poor throwing. Yep. And that puts me at Byron Leftwich with 45% of a guy who could not adapt to what was going on. You've got a poor offensive line. I get what he was trying to do. I completely get it. He was like, I don't want to have to force my quarterback to throw by having a run game. Brilliant, fantastic. But when your run game isn't working, because guess what? You had Aaron Stinney and Big Red as your two of your interior guys, and that never happened because of the injuries they sustained. So you can't be this run down. You can try it to see if you get it, of course. But your intelligence should tell you this line will not get you there. They're just not going to. And that's not their fault. It's just they're just not good enough. They're just not good enough as a unit with those two guys, with Aaron Stinney, without Aaron Stinney and Big Red in front. Ryan Jensen in front. So you need to adjust to that. Running on second fucking down, not taking advantage of the Steelers matchup that just fucking fell into your lap.
Yep, that was a blessing. You were supposed to. That was the game where you could have put up 40 points. That is the game where if you get up early, you can bleed the clock by establishing the run then, because now if we got up like 17-0 in the first half, that means that they would have to back up a little bit and honor that our passing is good. You're right. You also,
sorry, go ahead.
No, I was saying with the passing, you should have used the pass to set up the run. This is Tom Brady, and you have a receiving core that is designed on that. This offense is a pass design, not a run.
Hey, if I see Tom Brady getting his ass kicked while he's doing play action, then I'll stop doing play action. But he was the most successful quarterback running play action this year. He was extremely efficient.
Yes, he was.
2-minute drill, one of the best in the league in 2-minute drill and best in hurry up offense, and one of the best in the league, the best in the league at play action when they used it, which they rarely used. That is an indictment of your play caller. That's an indictment on him. The fact that you've got a quarterback that's a little bit scared, a quarterback that's not trusting his line so much. That's fair. It's a fair assessment. So why don't you put slants in, hitches in, short 3 yard goes, 3 yard ins, 3 yards out, 5 yards this. Instead of this route start to develop at 8, because all I have to do is drop people.
Yep.
Based off what I see coming out, because it's going to be an easy defend. I can play zone or I can play off. And it's only when realistically that teams were playing their prevent coverage or their really big cushion coverage that Tom Brady was able to pick them apart.
Yep. I
Because
agree.
you're creating the space. I mean, your linebacker, the distance between your deep guys and your underneath zones was massive. So you were able to find somebody in the middle of it or before it.
Yeah.
You never attack the width of the field, which makes no fucking sense, because guess what? When you're a vertical passing offense, eventually space will dry up because you got towards the end zone. Once you hit the red zone, your real estate is 30 yards. You get to the 5, your real estate is 15.
Yep.
So you're not going to get deep passes off with 15 yards as your real estate to get, because they're most likely going to be pushed out of bounds, or they're not going to complete the pass. And that's why you have fades, you have in-breaking routes, you have out-breaking routes. You just cause confusion and chaos.
Yep.
But we didn't do that.
We didn't do shit. And his safe bet was always that dumbass screen when we were within 5 yards of the red zone, which was super obvious. You have all these receivers that are good at what they do, and you never took advantage. Some of the best one of the best play calls, and this wasn't even Byron, it was Brady against the Rams. And you always brilliantly said, we run that ball like he wanted to, and they get stopped, the game's over. What did he do? He did a fake HB draw, and that left Otten wide open to get that. Where was those type of calls the entire season? I tell you what it was, as you said, stubborn and ego. You couldn't even answer the questions when these gentlemen who were doing their job and analysts who know the game as well are sitting there saying, I don't want to be rude, but this is something redundant. Why do you keep doing the same thing that doesn't work? We do what we feel that is going to work. So 5 fucking games in, you still feel that way? Are you out of your mind? That shows me you don't know what you're doing. Again, as you used to say, the width of the field. Again,
that never changes. Your width of the field is exactly the same. And you know what? The only time the width of the field changes is when you're on different hashes. That's when your wide receivers have more space to use. That's where the defense, if they're in zone, which you can find out if you're running motion, you run a little bit of motion, you see how they move, adjust to your motion. They're in zone. Guess what? The left, if you're on the right hand hash, the left hand side of the field is fucking wide open on an out-breaking route. Absolutely. It's too much fucking stress.
Too much fucking stress. And this is what you could have done to help Brady. The first option, if it's not there, the second option should have always been an under route, to where if Brady wanted to get it out quick, the first option is not there, but I got this guy running underneath, and you use someone with great speed, Scotty Miller, wink, wink, or Godwin or Russell. Hey, these are great route runners, and they can catch in traffic. They never did it. As you said, it was literally a 8-yard thing. And yeah, literally like this. And all the defense did is this. All I got
that's what you got to do.
I can back up.
You sink. Because you know your front four is going to get home to him, because he's either going to throw the ball away or throw it at someone's feet, or he's going to have to eat the sack, which he doesn't want to do.
And I'm going to go to these.
We got a couple.
What's up, Sosa? What's up? How you doing? I appreciate you watching. And that in a nutshell is how us Bucs fans felt all fucking season.
Don't get me wrong. The wins when we came from behind and snagged it, they were fun at the time. But when you put the whole season on a whole, that was a tough ass season.
You were just like this. This is the Bucs like this. We were literally pirates, because sometimes we had one eye open because we wanted to see, and then the other we closed it, and then we hit them with when we got a blunder. That was the Bucs this season. We were fucking pirates, all right, because they surely was robbing, and our ship was leaking, and then it finally sank when the Cowboys finally hit him with them 6-shooters. That's why Byron deserves the most blame, and that's why he deserves the most criticism, and that's why we had to stop. We had to take a moment out and go, hey guys, this has nothing to do with race. If anything, this man was given the keys. Again, it's like he got the keys to
fucking Lamborghini.
a Lamborghini, and you just run it and run it and run it into the ground. The maintenance.
You've been shown by a fucking sports driver. Your father's a sports driver. He's shown you how to drive this car all your life. You finally get given one, and you drive it straight to a fucking brick wall.
Right, and mind you, the engine blows up because all you need to do is get an oil change. But your pride, you just didn't know where to go. So when people when you were being told, you just chugged it off. You don't know what you're talking about. You can't afford this anyway, because that is the vibe that Leftwich always gave me. I played in this game. You sure did, and you weren't shitting it either. If Bowles doesn't get this OC right Bowles doesn't get this right this season, he's gone.
I think that's what he means. It's like 1 or 2 years. So this year or next year.
But the funny thing is, and we'll definitely get into this, if Brady doesn't come back, even if he gets it right as an offensive coordinator, Bowles' days are numbered. If Bowles doesn't get keep a top 10 defense, and that OC makes the offense, let's say the Bucs overall, they are top 5 in offensive points per game, and the running game goes from 32 to 15. Now Slick, and they bring in another quarterback. They draft a quarterback. Mm-hmm. They're not. If I'm the Glazers, they're not going to want Bowles to have anything.
Well, here's how I would deal with it, because I think I know where you're going down with this.
Yep.
If that happened, let's say the offense really, really fires up, and it's the defense that's held back, like they're abundantly poor. Let's just say they're either mediocre or under mediocre.
Yep.
It'll depend on the OC.
Yep.
If the OC is getting headhunted for coaching jobs, they'll fire Byron Leftwich and make the OC the fucking head coach. That's exactly what will happen.
Todd Bowles, you're right. You are right. That's what I'm saying. But I think that's why.
But I think that usually if a guy's gone to a team, he won't get the head coaching job straight away. So he would probably be able to limp another year, and he would have to shake up his side of the football to try and get that right.
I agree. If Bowles is literally, if I'm Bowles, you better make sure whatever OC you get, they know what the fuck they're doing, where you don't even have to worry about it. But again, he's going to have to get that, because now the Glazers are going to say, we know what you can do for a defense. I mean, well, we want to see the defense better. So this should be, the defense should, let's be real. If they can get another pass rusher, the defense should be better. So either you go with a pass rusher or you get someone to complement Vita. Now, I know that they said there are a lot of defensive tackles coming out.
I'm not sure. It all depends on what we do in free agency. That's what it's going to come down to. That's why I never want to predict what we're getting. I can guarantee you one thing.
Yeah.
I think me and you are both in agreement. We have to get a left tackle regardless of what happens.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Left tackle has to be taken care of. Hey, if it makes Donovan Smith play better, look, you got this guy for 4 years, and if he's a first-round pick, you got him for 5 years. So eventually you're going to get rid of Donovan Smith anyway, because his contract's so heavy, and he might not want to sign a big contract after the fact.
Exactly.
Now, there's lots of ways how people want to talk about how you're going to deal with this. Like, there's people, you can put this person, you can put this. Why not restructure some of these people? Someone like Donovan Smith has 2 years on his contract. You can restructure him. And people go, oh, yeah, but I don't want him. I'm going to tell you why you want him. Depth.
Yep.
You may think he's trash. You may think he's still considered a mediocre to just a below average starter.
Yep.
That means he carries a lot of weight. And you're going, yeah, but his contract, absolutely. But you're going to pay him $8 million anyway just to boot him out the door. So why don't you restructure his contract so that he gives you that what you would free up as your cap space?
Exactly.
But he stays with the team. So you don't cut him and take the dead cap. What you do is you pay him whatever he's worth, whatever his contract is, but he restructures to signing bonuses and what have you, and guaranteed money that he will still get his 17 million or whatever the fuck it is, but you will get the maximum amount of the cap space you can get from it. So which means you don't need dead cap until next year if you do decide to get rid of him. And you may want to re-sign a completely new deal. I don't know. But that's the idea. When you've got guys on really big contract with really big cap hits down the line, you don't want to just cut them, because 9 million's a heck of a lot. I mean, that's a pass rusher, it's a good wide receiver.
Yep.
It's potentially an offensive guard. There's so much more to it than just, we'll just eat the cap. Yeah, we can't because we're not in that position.
Nope.
If he doesn't want to restructure, you'll go, okay, dude, then we got no choice. We're going to have to let you go.
Right. And a guy like Donovan, he can't, he's not at that position in his career where he can just go, oh, I'll be an ultimate big money making starter somewhere else. As we can see, they're gonna go. If anything,
He'll be signed as a backup. He will be signed as a backup, or unless the team is desperate for a left tackle.
Right. And I don't see that many teams like that. Again, he knows that if this was 2020, Donovan, it would be a whole different story because he could.
And you never know. Like, he had an injury. He was dealing with shit. He might come back next year and just be back to the old him. Look, I say the old him, but the 2002, the 2020, and the 2021.
I get it. I get.
And and to be fair, a lot of people give him a lot of shit, but you got to remember we also had James Winston who held on to the ball to the very, very, very last second that he could. So that a lot of people did say that didn't help him. Lowlights always look ugly, and they always look ugly with him.
Well, because statistically, he still produces the most penalties, and
I think that's the hardest part is the penalties.
Right. Well, if you go back and look at most of the penalties, they could have been avoided. And when he gets beat, it's like it's almost to the point where it's inexcusable. Like with Parsons, and I'm going back to Parsons.
It's not like they're doing; they're just speed rushing most of these guys. It's not like they're flipping, they're turning, they're fucking putting them in a blender, and he's like, I don't know where to go.
And look,
it's pure speed, and he's like, oh, shit.
Yep. And you have to catch my TikTok that I said earlier about Parsons, but and I made this clear. To beat a guy like Parsons, you have to fight fire with him. You have to get low and block him, and almost at the point where you're making a tackle of him. He's too quick with the how he comes off the edge. That's why, like you said, when Donovan gets beat by Micah Parsons, it was laughable. I'm like, damn, you can literally see Donovan doing this, and he's not pushing anything.
His hands are touching nothing.
His hands are not touching anything, and Parsons literally
scraping past him, and all he does is grab hold of him from behind and come back.
And there's one play that he played in Dallas in the playoffs. I was like, okay, definitely get a left tackle. I want to see him sweat. While the play was going, despite him not being ready. See, Jensen's always in ready mode. This fucking guy just stands up like nothing's supposed to happen. I did not like that. I said, dog.
He does have a habit of looking a little bit like, even when someone's sacked, he looks a bit like he's, God.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't care. I'm not saying he does or he doesn't, but I can't tell. But his body language tells me that it's like he doesn't want to be there. And if you're not invested, get the fuck out, dude.
Right. And there was a time at first
take the mental fucking time off. If there's a mental problem, take the time off. No one's gonna disregard you for it. Like, fucking life is tough.
Right.
Even if you got millions, if your grandmother dies or your fucking daughter's got leukemia, I don't know what it is. Obviously, I like them to just put spitballing things that could happen. Someone's been hit by a fucking car. Shit will dwell on you. And there's no fucking shame in it. You've earned enough money to go, you know what? I need to take, but then there's the whole camaraderie thing. There's the whole don't want to let my teammates down. So there's so much more that goes into it. But I think realistically, sometimes when people go through these things, they just gotta get the fuck out of Dodge, and just. But then there's the contract issue as well. There's so many different things. You can't just say, oh, you should just do this and that's it. Like,
right.
There's the logical thing, but
I agree, and that's why we do need a tackle because one, you're right. For all we know, if we get a left tackle in the draft, it could light a fire and ignite him to go, oh, well, if
it was an injury, that's what we're going to do. We're going to see if it wasn't. We're going to.
No, I don't want him to be a guard. I don't want Smith to be a guard. I can see him getting now. I see more of Donovan is finesse, not as physical as a Jensen. He's a finesse guy. To be a guard, to me, you got to be nasty in those trenches. You have to be able to move people. I think he would get dogged.
I would say that the Buccaneers are their O-line coaches. They probably know what every position that everyone can play as a backup.
Yep.
And there's a reason why you see him nowhere but left tackle.
Exactly.
Either he's the fucking best left tackle we got, or he can't do anything else. And I'm not gonna guess on which one of those is correct.
No.
But
and let me
It's
ask
going
you
to be
this.
one of those. You know where everyone can play because
Right.
you need to know because most teams carry 5. They've got their 5, and they usually carry 3 more, which means those 3 guys have got to be versatile.
Right.
Really fucking versatile.
Right. And now we were talking because Rick was talking about this, but I want to ask you, in your personal opinion, Slick, when Wells was in, did you see him play just as good as Donovan, or did he just do
I
just
thought it was the same, to be honest. I mean,
I
I
agree.
I really didn't look at it, but then you're saving a fucking premium by keeping Josh Wells, aren't you?
I agree. I'm with you 100% because I wanted to say, well, Rick, I said, Rick, I really just saw 2 of the same people. It's just we're gonna pick on Donovan more because he's a well-known person. Nobody gives a shit
getting
about
the money.
Wells. It's like, nah, man, they were one and the same. No, we need another left tackle, and
we need another left tackle for sure.
We need to,
like you said, even if it is just we don't know what we're going to do with the cap, so we're going to find out as soon as we hit free agency. We're going to speak to, or going towards free agency, we're going to be speaking to people. Or I would, if I was the front office, be speaking to a Donovan Smith, to some of these other guys that have a couple of years left on their contract, and say, look, we got your money. We're not going to take your money away. Can you restructure for us so we can get more help, so this team can stay relevant, this team can stay in the playoffs, this team can still continue to win divisional championships, and hopefully we can start fucking punching our ticket to Super Bowls.
right?
But if you're going to hold on to that 17 million, bud, we're probably going to have to let you go because we cannot afford. We need to bring up 9 million on the cap is big to us. Where do you stand on this? And I'm pretty sure he has restructured before, and I would not be surprised if he either re-signed to a more teamer-friendly deal where he gets signing bonuses down the line. They do that puff. I just hope they don't go too crazy with these future contracts where they're paying money when they're not on the team anymore.
Right, I know.
Like Levante David's got it, Tom Brady's got it, where they count against the cap this year and next year. So it's like Tom Brady counts for like 30-something million. If he doesn't retire and another team takes him, he counts for 33 million against the cap this year.
Shit.
Nothing against next year. Or it's something like that. If he retires, it's something like 22 million, but 11 million the following year. I get it when you're trying to win now. This team isn't Super Bowl right now. Maybe if you get Tom Brady back, but I just don't really I honestly don't see it right this second. I don't.
No, now it depends on what OC comes in. Here's 3 things. I think the big 3 things that will determine if this Bucs team is going to be Super Bowl contenders. Whoever's at the quarterback position, that left tackle, and the OC. Those 3 have to align perfectly because I'll say this. We talked about this last time. What if the Bucs draft a solid left tackle? Let's say he could be like at least 80% of what Wirfs was his rookie season. That would be incredible. And then we have a mobile quarterback.
I mean, look, the sky's the limit. This is how you got to. That's how you got to look at it. This is why people have gone down the. When we were talking about those lines that were better than were worse than the Buccaneers, that were still in the playoffs. Some of them have been knocked down now. That were still in the playoffs. They all had something in common. Name me one quarterback that is slower or the same speed as Tom Brady in the pocket.
None. Everybody's
none.
fast.
That's what I mean. Tom Brady relies on a top 5 offensive line, and the Buccaneers don't have that anymore. So he probably, if he's looking at a team, he's going to have to look at a team that's got a top 5 offensive line.
Exactly, and that's not going to always. And most of the teams with the offensive line, they have their quarterback set already. So that's why I'm more, when people say Brady it's almost guaranteed. I'm like, not necessarily. Brady doesn't.
If I was him, I'd retire. If I was him, I'd retire. He's got nothing left to prove. Does he really want to go and kick the tires on another year that could potentially be as bad or worse than the season he just had? I get you want to go out on your swan song, but you're going out on your swan song was going out after the 2020 Super Bowl. That was your swan song. I am pleased that he came back because we had another great year, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. It was one of my favorite years watching Buccaneer football because we just kicked everyone's ass that we played against, really. I mean, bar the 3 games that we lost, but we were so fucking competitive. Or 4 games we lost, sorry. We were so fucking competitive. It was so fun to watch this team. It was so much fun.
Well, the second team was supposed to be that second year. I'm not gonna lie. I think that was the year that he wanted to go out. If the Bucs win the Super Bowl that back to back, he would have retired.
Well, that was the whole shtick of that year, wasn't it? It was back to back. It was going for 2. Yeah, that was the phrase that was being.
Yeah, but that was the time, and I just think that. And this
that was the perfect time to retire. I think
right. And
someone stole his thunder, though, didn't they? They turned around.
Yeah, well,
he could have turned around and just said, "It's not true."
Yeah,
I'm still mulling shit over.
Yep, but I do think that this is why a lot of Buck fans, including myself, sometimes we have this hate against Bowles, because just think about it. Back-to-back years, Bowles has fucked this team. That year against the Rams, we all.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't go into one time you should have called cushion coverage.
Exactly right. The irony is that was the time where I was like, either you go in cushion coverage, or if you're gonna play man coverage, you still double him.
Bracket him with a safety. You put somebody else underneath.
And from what they said he wasn't even the main guy. They said Stafford just looked up and he saw that Cooper Kupp was wide open and he just had to take it. That's what makes it hurt worse. It's like you let this man run free, and this is why Bowles is in this position. That's why I said the Glazers are going to say.
But then we got to give him this credit for the Super Bowl, because the Super Bowl, he called a heck of a fucking game. So you look, now he's got 2. Now he's got 2 things on his shoulder. 2 things. He had a great one, and he had a stupid cool one. I think Greg Williams did it when he was with a team recently, and he fucking zero blitzed, and they fucking won the game because of it. Yeah. It's like, and I get you have your philosophy. I get that, but you better have everyone fucking dialed in, because right now you are protecting a lead or you're playing for overtime. That's when you have to be a little bit more careful, cautious. He's so cautious as a head coach that it almost feels like a bit of the balls have been taken off.
Yes, agreed. I think because now he's playing that I'm playing not to mess up, instead I need to play to make it happen. And now we can say that Super Bowl run was good, but we also had 2 good pass rushers at that time, Shaq and
for sure. And you know what? This is something that you got to look at, is when we went into this season, we still had an opportunity to bring Sue back. We still had an opportunity to bring JPP back, and we chose not to. That, I don't know who it comes down to, because technically at that point in time, no, we can put it on those, because both those guys didn't get signed till late, so we could have signed both those guys with Todd Bowles as the head coach. They obviously decided collectively as the top brass, as in the front office, and the coaches felt that they could move on.
Yeah, and
I don't know how they got to that.
Me neither.
That mindset, because at the end of the day, I don't even know what both those guys were offered to play. Now I know you can't really say we could have offered Ndamukong Suh exactly what he got offered when he went to the Eagles, right? Because a load of games have elapsed, so his game check's going to be smaller anyway. You sign a guy, he's 100 million, and you sign him in the middle of the year, it's not going to, 10 million, and you sign him in the middle of the year, it's going to be 5 million, right? But you can extrapolate to a degree how much your contract's going to be. You could have paid him, and he would have come back.
Well, if you want to win, you go get the guy that helped you win. I liked Higgs, but he wasn't Sue. And Jason Pierre-Paul was a leader in the locker room. Sometimes that's what it takes. He could have, for all we know, he could have helped develop JTS even more. So then as the season went on, JTS
and what if he was happy just that you had that one side just rotate all the time? You have the Shaq Barrett side, and then you've got Anthony Nelson, you've got and you'll get a different guy with different skill sets each time. That's for the left tackle or the right tackle. That's a fucking stressful moment. Because you got one guy who might be finesse, you might be one that's pure speed, and one who can do a bit of everything. Fuck me, you've got to be on your P's and Q's, because you don't know you're gonna. 1 minute you're getting Anthony Nelson, next minute you're getting JTS, another minute you're getting fucking Carl Nassib, and next minute you're getting JPP. That's a fucking tall order. And if you can rotate them all around, Jesus Christ, God knows how much creativity you could have with it.
Right, and that's the thing. It's all a mental thing, but that's why people are mad at Bowles, because he just and clock. Yes, Sue did bring, and he brought a lot of attitude.
Both those guys were the attitude of this defense,
and they brought a lot of attitude to the run defense. It was almost like you had to give up the run, especially the first
they're fucking nasty players.
Yes, they were just like, fuck it, we got to pass. Yes, that's why Bowles, I think this year, they're going to put a lot of stress on his defense. They're going to be like, hey, especially if they draft right, they're going to be like, okay, no fucking excuses that this Bucs defense should not be top 10. I don't want, like you said, they cannot fall off dramatically, and especially if they stay healthy. If the Bucs,
I think if they fall off dramatically, Bowles is gone next year, guaranteed.
I agree.
If it's a good defense and an okay offense, he'll have another year. It all depends on making playoffs, right? If they make playoffs, you're going to get a chance to live again. You're going to get a chance to live again. You're going to get until to a point you're looking at your roster going, fuck, we're loaded, and you're not doing what you're supposed to do.
I agree.
That's why Leftwich got the boot, was because he had a loaded roster and failed to do anything with it. You can put a little bit on Tom Brady. You can put a little bit on the offensive line, but it all came down to the guy who was calling the shots.
Yep, and the reason why is because they also see you didn't do anything to fix it. It'd be different if he pulled out all his stunts, all different things, and they go, okay, shit happens, Byron. We'll give you another year. But the simple fact that it was the same predictability, they're probably like, yeah, you're in over your head. Thanks for no thanks.
I think we need to find an offensive play caller that's just got a lot of creativity, because that's where the league seems to be going.
Yes.
Like, even the risk it no biscuit was still an archaic offense. It just worked because it had so much talent in it. Yep. When that talent becomes a little bit more dwindled, it's harder to pull off.
That's
right.
Why
Arians had 2 good years in Arizona, not multiple upon multiple years.
Right.
Because it worked to a degree. It's not a sustainable offense. I would say no risk it, no biscuit is a package more than an offense. You want your no risk it, no biscuit offense as your package deal. Maybe to close out to close out the half. Maybe your 2-minute drill stuff. That's your no risk it, no biscuit pass. You're like, fuck, we need a touchdown. Let's go fucking do this.
Right. And you have to and everything's got to be a perfect engine. Like, you got to have a great line to hold up if you're going to take.
You got to have a good run game. You got to have a run game because you can go to it. If you don't have a run game, it puts even more pressure on that no risk it, no biscuit, because you've got to get more yards. So there's more to it.
You got to get more yards. All right. Well, hypothetical. And this is a shout out to Buck Skull, because, he likes to do the big what ifs. What if Trent Edwards, we could acquire him, and all it takes is 1 first-round pick? Are you pulling the trigger on that?
Trent Edwards, of course.
I was just saying, in a perfect world, and all they say is we want a first. Okay, let me be more realistic. We want your 1st and 2nd round picks. Are you pulling that? You pulling that trigger, ain't you?
I'd still take that.
Can you imagine Edwards and Wirfs on the right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Brady would come back. I don't give a shit. He would come back.
I would probably trade up my lower picks to try and get a really high another 2nd round pick, so I can bring somebody else back, because it all depends. Like I said, it all comes down to what you get in free agency as well. Like, they saw all these players that apparently the Bucs aren't expecting to bring back.
Yeah,
both saved it. I
saw one thing. I got to put this up. No, man, no. We're good at safety. Hell no.
No, we're down though, aren't we?
You can find. Look, basically after next season,
but is it? I wouldn't go at 19. That's my 2nd round pick.
Yeah, and
safety be my 2nd round pick. Maybe you're only going to get 2 to 3 starters depending on how you draft, right? So you can't. It depends on who you re-sign. If you can re-sign somebody in the safety position, don't draft anybody. Draft them later, because you can develop them.
That's right.
It's the same with the other positions. If you bring back Hicks and Goulston, you don't need to go for a defensive lineman straight away. Maybe you go get the safety and fill that spot. It depends on what's available to the Buccaneers. That's what it's going to come down to, in my
Hell
opinion.
yeah, and no, you got Antoine Winfield, who's basically an elite safety already. You can put an average guy next to him, and that's fine. Don't go. We need the priority is a left tackle. Again, that's why I was just throwing this.
Yeah, I think we got to get the trenches
Yeah.
right. I think you could probably get Logan Ryan, or you could probably get Keanu Neal. I'd probably like Logan Ryan a little bit more out of those two, or even Edwards. None of them have been sustainable starters for longevity, so they're going to all sign cheap.
Right.
They've all been rotational backup-y guys who've had stints starting. They've never had like multi-seasons as a starter.
Exactly.
Except for Edwards, most of those guys I think have bounced around the league in a couple of teams too. So it's not like they're going to be mega sought out free agents. So you could possibly find one of them. The question is, who do you get out of the two corners that might be leaving?
I'm going with, I don't know why.
I'd want to go Dean, but the price is going to be inevitably much bigger for him.
Yeah.
Is Zion McCullum ready to start? No.
I'm no comment. I haven't seen shit.
He's not ready to start.
As you can see,
so you're gonna end up with one of those two. That's how I see it. I'd want Dean, because Dean has cemented it. His pro football focus grades are through the roof for him. He's an incredibly talented guy.
No, I agree. I'm going with Dean. You just have to bite that, because he's going to be the more better thing in the long run to help your defense. SMB is still not there. You just have to find a way to structure around that, because Dean is the guy that can be a hybrid.
He can start. He's a starter.
He's a starter. He can jam, but he can also recover because he has the speed. SMB is not that. SMB is too much all over the place. SMB is a luxury guy. What I'm hoping is that, hey, SMB, right now we can give you this amount where it's almost like you're under the starter, because he's not really a true starter to me. Give you just enough to where you sign him for like 2 years or something like that, where it doesn't hurt the cap too much. And then he's young. So after that, if it doesn't work out, you can take your talents elsewhere, especially if you perform better. But no, I want Davis and Dean there. They are
Davis, Dean, Edwards, and Winfield is probably the backfield I'd like to keep, to be honest.
Exactly.
Because I just think realistically you're going to have to go down the route of, you need a left tackle. You need a left tackle, and if one's not available at that spot, trade back. Trade back until the next best one is available. Don't just go and get him, because if you're smart, you might get yourself another second round pick or a third round pick. Then you can leverage some of those picks with your fourth and your fifth round pick and go into the second again. That's another starter. You're going to have starters leaving. That's where you can go with that.
Yep.
I would also be looking at this receiving core. A lot of people are going, oh well, we're going to lose Julio Jones. I don't want to be mean, but not a massive loss, because he didn't. Yes, he had some big plays for us, but he wasn't a consistent performer. We're going to lose, I can't remember, Brashard Perriman. Where was he all year?
Yeah, bye.
Buccaneers can go and get people like Cyril Grayson, you can't even say people who are used to the scheme, because it's going to be a new scheme. But you could if you want a speedster, you can bring back Cyril Grayson. He's going to cost next to nothing. You're going to bring back Devin Tompkins. That's already 5 guys. Job done. You draft somebody in the 7th or the 6th round. Job done.
Right. And Scotty, I don't think Scotty will go anywhere. Scotty is one of those things where if he does go, oh well. If not, he can be a good factor. Our receiving core.
I think it's much more that Cyril Grayson can do.
Yeah,
that he can do better. Special teams is probably where it's at, because he's a big contributor on special teams. We have seen that. They still have I'm trying to remember his name. The guy from Minnesota, Johnson. He's still on the practice squad.
Oh yeah, Tyler is still out there.
So they could still keep him on the practice squad. They could still try and get something out of it. So for wide receiver, I'm not even worried. Running backs, I'm not even worried. I just want to shore up the O-line. I think if you can get Stinney back, your job's almost all the way done, almost done. And then you get that left tackle. Hopefully you can confer with Donovan Smith and get him to restructure and free up more than just $9 million. He might be able to free up more. I don't know cap shit because it's not my thing. But he should be able to by restructuring his deal. We know Mike Evans will restructure as always, and we probably know that Chris Godwin will probably do something around the same.
I
So
agree.
there's going to be a couple of guys. Cameron Brate is probably his last year. The Buccaneers will probably look at a veteran to come into that group, but they don't really need to go too crazy with it because
Not
they've got
at
two
all.
guys set.
Not at all. I actually like Keith better than what people think. I think he is.
I think I'm really impressed with him because the amount of balls he caught.
Yeah.
Considering,
I just think
I
again.
heard he had more starts than ball catches in college.
Yeah, and I just
Now
think
it's like the other way around. You have a couple of tutties to go with
yes,
it
he
too.
did, and Byron again didn't utilize him the right way. I think Keith, like you said, he was. If you put him to be a chipper, he would do a hell of a job because then with his mass and his body, he can give you that split second. Because let's be real, if Brady comes back, we already know this. The line is going to have to be superb, and the O lineman. So I want to actually talk about if Brady doesn't come back and we get another quarterback. I got two where if we draft right, we're contenders. Derek Carr, and I can't believe I'm saying this. No, I'm not even going to Baker. I don't know, but Derek Carr, I honestly think that we could be contenders with him because just think he's going to be on a team with a real defense.
He's a tough dude. He'll stay the pocket.
And he'll throw. He's mobile and he'll throw that ball to Evans. That all Evans needs is someone to just constantly throw to him like Jameis. The most person who ever believed in Evans was Winston. Derek Carr, that guy. They can establish.
Fitzpatrick had a lot of love.
Yeah, they could establish a repertoire, and again, he'll be on a real defense. That will be the Bucs can be contenders then. But we already said it. You get a good left tackle.
Baker Mayfield is in my conversation because you're going to be able to sign him cheap. Now, I've said this before, and I don't know if it was you I said it to. The way I would attack this, if Brady says I'm not coming back, I'm retiring, or I'm going to another team, and he flat out says that, okay, fine. Now we got to move on. I'm not going to go with just one guy and put my pins on. What I'm going to do is sign multiple guys to low contracts that have a lot of incentives. So, and I'm going to go with guys I like, a bit of moxie and a guy I like. So let's go for Baker Mayfield. And I'm also going to add in Gardner Minshew because his stats are pretty freaking decent. He does tend to turn over the ball from a fumble point of view. But quarterbacks fumble the ball. I can live with that. I bring them in on $2 million deals. That's all they're going to get. However, you win the starting job week 1, you unlocked another $1 million. If you play more than 10 games, start more than 10 games, another $1 million. So now this contract's starting to look really thick, and they're achievable goals. It's not like I'm saying you need to score 30 touchdowns. You are under in those 10 games. You are under, if you start more than 10 games and you are under 10 interceptions, another $1 million.
Right.
You get to the playoffs, another $1 million. All these things then add up, and this contract then becomes quite a juicy contract. And they're all achievable goals. They're not like the ones that they gave him at Carolina where he had to fucking throw for a ridiculous amount of yards.
Yeah, right.
I want them to be achievable for a starter.
Right.
And that way you can that kind of money doesn't count against the cap. And not all of them can earn it. So I'd be like, I'm bringing you in and Gabbert. You guys aren't going to they're going to cost you on paper $6 million to bring those three guys in. One of them's going to go, so they're going to lose half their money. So it's only cost you $5 million to bring them in. One of them's going to achieve all that money. It's an opportunity. I would say this is an opportunity offense. And take your opportunity, and we will reward you. And then when you see it's low-hanging fruit stats, it's not like it. Start 10 games. If you're good enough, you should be. Come on, you're fucking Baker Mayfield. Oh, you're this person. You should be able to start fucking 10 games, right?
Right.
And he's probably thinking in the back of his head, I can fucking start 10 games. Fucking let's go.
And I like where your head is going, because then what if they start getting a winning sensation? They might say, "Oh, we can fucking do this." Wait, I do have.
You got over 25 touchdowns, another $1 million a lot. 25 touchdowns is a lot, but it's not ridiculous enough that it's unachievable.
Nope.
So if you are the start of week 1, $1 million earned. If you do play more than 10 games, because let's say you solidified the spot, that's another million more. Then you get the under 10 interceptions, another million more. Then you get the over 25 touchdowns. Then you get the playoffs. That's 5 million on top of free. It's a $7 million contract, and you can incentive laid it even further. Go, every touchdown you score after is $100,000. Every game you go without an interception is another 100,000. Is like a quarter of a mil. You're set up to everything's there. Hey, if you want to throw fucking picks, you won't make extra money. You want to throw tuddies, you'll make extra fucking money. You want to throw for extra yards, for every 1,000 yards, I'll unlock another fucking million for you once you get past the.
Right, you get
I'm
to
not saying you make it super achievable because that money doesn't count against the cap. And realistically, the maximum they're ever going to earn is 10 million, which is the kind of contract they're probably hoping for. And then you know if you've got a dude who can do the job.
I agree, and this is where you can't go wrong because with the Carr or Bakers of the world, they're mobile, so they'll be able to extend plays and they'll be willing to take hits. So now you're talking about a team with.
Imagine if we had a mobile quarterback and that those fucking stupid deep releasing routes, it's not on, straight through.
Oh, absolutely.
5-yard game, guaranteed. He slides 5 yards, boom, done. But you've lost nothing. You're not throwing at someone's feet. And I feel like I'm talking bad about Brady, but it was just the situation he was in.
No, it's the reality of the situation. Yeah. Like Rick said, if Baker Mayfield played against the Cowboys, we're beating the Cowboys. Now that I think about it more, I'm convinced we would have beaten them because here's the thing:
we could lose those fourth quarter comebacks. I think that's the only thing you get. But we might never have been in them.
We might not have been there, like you see. We might not have been there because here's the thing: mobile. We can say all the shit we want about Winston, but if Winston could cut half of his interception,
if he just went 30 for 15, would be beautiful.
We'd be dangerous. Yeah, when you're mobile, now a defense has to be honest. You have to go shit. We have to account for him because, as you said, when you don't just throw it away, let's say Baker could always get to average 6 yards on those things. Now, instead of 2nd and 10, now you got 2nd and 4. Now they have to account. Oh shit. And then you could do more creative plays. Again, I do think this isn't the disrespect Brady, but it's one of those realities. He was at an age where and Brady's never been like that, even younger. But I'm at this point where if we already know left tackle is the most important thing, but getting a mobile quarterback with this offensive style around us. I'll tell you this. Now, this is really a stretch. I'm just talking fantasy shit to be humorous. What if, because we found a way to get rid of a lot of people and we got a decent cap space. What if Lamar Jackson said, I'll come down because it's Florida, no state tax.
I have a problem with like players like when they're pure dual threats, they tend to put themselves in harm's way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing. That's the only knock. They tend to get injured. Players that can extend plays, like a Baker Mayfield, like Nick Foles in his heyday, like some of these other quarterbacks that aren't running quarterbacks, like Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a prime example. Sometimes he looks for the contact too, though, because he's a big boy. But most of them, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, they're not fast quarterbacks. They're not pure dual threats. They probably were in high school. It's about extending the play or getting something out of it rather than just taking the loss or the negative yards. I got 3 yards out of it. Okay, now it's 2nd down and fucking 7 instead of 2nd down and 15. Those are the kinds of things that you're setting yourself up for a better play down the future, because now it's 2nd down and 7. You can now go, okay, well, I'm going to do a quick slant. Okay, now we're 3rd down and 2. The playbook's still wide open. You're not constricting yourself on what your play design is, because once you get to 3rd and 7, defense knows exactly what's coming, and it's how they adjust. You'll beat them occasionally, but when they know what's coming, it's a lot harder.
Mm-hmm.
And when your scheme is predictable and they know what you're doing, it's even harder on top of that.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
That's how I see it. But here's the question I want to ask you.
What's up?
offensive coordinator has been talked about. Frank Reich is one of them, if I pronounced his name right there. We've also got the Todd Monken, who used to be with the Buccaneers, an offensive coordinator, who did have some success, in all fairness, with Jameis Winston.
Yes.
And we also had, and there's also Bill O'Brien. Which of those three do you like the most?
I honestly, I would go with the only reason I would go with Todd Monken is because we can do a lot more within his offense. Even if with, because I'm more this on the side of Brady doesn't come back, we need to have a quarterback anyway that's going to be mobile and we can utilize things a lot more. I do like Bill O'Brien. I think Bill would be fucking great, but
for Tom Brady.
Yeah, for Tom Brady. It's just too much that has to go right if Tom Brady comes back. At least if Monken, let's say if we bring in Monken and we draft him left tackle and he even just an average left tackle, we could do more. For Brady, that guy has to be another Wirfs. So you're asking a lot more. So Brady coming back, you're asking a lot more. Will it put us into Super Bowl contenders? Absolutely. But you have to be spot on. At least with Monken, we'll have more success because he'll know how to utilize. He's gonna have
I think he'll get the run game better.
Yes,
just how dominant Georgia are with their run game.
Yep.
It can't be just they've just got a good offensive line and a good running backs. It's got to be more to it. There's got to be the blocking scheme that they have, and he can bring that aside.
And he will utilize
5 White has put in. Cliff Kingsbury should be in there. He's too busy suntanning, so we don't know.
Right.
To be honest, I haven't seen him do anything yet. We don't even know what he's like he hasn't done anything.
Yeah, agreed. He
wasn't even that good in college.
Right. I'm more sold on Monken, and I think Monken.
That's the guy, and then I'll probably go Frank. If Tom Brady's saying, "Oh, I want Bill O'Brien," I'll take the Bill O'Brien.
Right.
I think we're going to be in worse cap how down. The problem is with Tom Brady, it's Super Bowl or bust. That's the mentality, right? And I would be worried that we would be setting ourselves up in the future with another bunch of future contracts with perforated years down the line, and all of a sudden Tom Brady goes off in the sunset when they thank you, Tom. Yeah, we didn't get the Super Bowl this year. And Tom's like, yeah, I'm done now. See you guys.
And that's
now we're fucking minus fucking 90 on the cap, and it's just where do we go from here? And then you're going to have multiple years of suckage. Whereas if you can create 1 year of serviceable, like we're not in a good division, we could still win the division. We just got to move things in the right place, and then the next year, when all the cap shit kind of sorts itself out, now we can spend some money. Now we've got another draft under our belts. Now we can start hitting it.
You're right. That's why I say, that's why I said with Brady, you better be.
We're gonna end up bringing more guys in. Mm-hmm. We're gonna offer them contracts that have like multiple dead years where we're still paying them when they're long gone.
Mm-hmm.
It can become a problem.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Yeah, it can't be anything less than a Super Bowl, and more than that, you better put up some ridiculous numbers. That's my thing. Brady, you come back and you get everything you asked for. I need to see Brady put up the second year numbers when he was with us. And why should I
think Brady didn't get what he wanted this year? I think he got everything he wanted this year.
Okay, well, more fight in him then.
Yeah, I think definitely needs more dog in him for sure.
Yeah, more dog, and I know we despite that.
Here's a question: would you rather go out in a fizzled out season? And I'm going to put you in Tom Brady's shoes, and I'll give you my answer to this. Would you go out on a fizzled out season where you weren't good, like the Bucs have just had, or would you go out on a season where you did your absolute fucking best, but you get injured?
I do my for me, I do my absolute fucking best, and I get injured.
And then you can go, you know what? The game's taking a toll on me, and no one would disrespect you because you turn around and go, I gave it my fucking all. I just can't recover from this shit no more, and I'm done.
Yeah.
And then everyone would be like, fair enough. But did you see him play in those fucking 4, 5, or 8 games that he was in?
And this is why And this is why I would love that, because I guarantee you this: those 5 or 6 games he plays, if he comes with that same mindset that he had in 2020, the Bucs are no less than 5-1 or 6-0 at that. The worst case would be 4-2. So after that, it's okay because now we still have enough talent.
He goes back to the playoffs, just like Peyton Manning did.
Thank you. Exactly. Now this is why if Brady comes back with that hunger, we wouldn't mind if he missed half the season. Because like you said, we want playoff time. The Bucs have, if they do everything right, the receiver.
That's what we thought we were going to get in the playoffs, didn't we? We thought we thought we're like Tom Brady's going to be like, right now. Yeah. I know the 2 seconds are really there, and I've just been playing cautious. Now I'm going to go to the maximum. I'm going to go to the echo of those 2 seconds, and I'm going to get what I get.
Yep.
Unfortunately, it did not happen.
It didn't happen like that, but also he didn't have a OC with the balls to do anything either.
No.
Yeah, you have to have someone to say, hey, that's why Monken would be my best choice. But if not, and I can't get O'Brien, I want an OC. Honestly, I want a guy with a college mind mentality. And this is why I say that. Now, I know the NFL is still different, but one thing that I've seen a lot of college guys do, they call plays where they know how to utilize the roster where it fucks up the defense. Again, when I told you, if I'm in the bunch, or if I run an I formation, I would have had Fournette and Rashad White out there because now you have to, there's 3 things that can happen. I can hand it off to Fournette. I can hand it off to Rashad White, or I can do a play action, and Rashad can be the blocker, and Fournette goes out for a short pass, or switch it around. You see what I'm saying? You have fun with it. I'm switching that shit up. Or if one play, I'm putting Kate Otten in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
Good luck for a nickel corner trying to cover that guy. And as you said, you could have Keith out there, play action, fake chip, dunk it off, and that's a big body. So
that's it. I mean, I really do think you can use Coquette as a fullback.
Exactly. So you
can bring in that power run game in as well. Yep.
I want an offensive coordinator that knows how to do things like that, like the Kyle Shanahan.
You start him off in that tight end position.
Yep.
And motion him into the fullback position. Now everything changes because your strong side's no longer your strong side. It's different sides now because when you're in I formation, everything becomes balanced. Yep. You don't realize this. You got a tight end on one side, it's strong. You got tight end on your right hand side, it's strong left. Tradition, yep. Yeah. Strong left, strong left, strong left. Now he motions. It's going to take a minute. It's probably still going to be strong left because it's the flow with it. You go off the fullback's arm usually, so yeah, it's still strong left. Right-handed quarterback, strong left. But you can still go either way because you're in I formation, and you've got a blocker coming down with speed rather than just coming off the line to go and hit somebody.
Exactly. And then when you put different players in, that confuses the hell out of a defense because now they can't assume what you're going to do. You switch it up. Now it's, I don't know. That makes them go, shit. We don't know what he's going to do at this point because I know if we assume that he's going to hand it off to Fournette in this I formation, what if he does a bootleg and a play action and then someone literally, because we're in the box now, Kate Otten can run up that seam and Brady is just going to let it fly. Or if we load it too much and they do an under route with a Godwin. Now
I think the reason we get so frustrated with this offense is because of how basic it is.
Yes.
And you've got your mind, my mind, or what have you, and most fans' minds are going, why don't they do this? And why don't they do it? Because there's so much more creative ways to do things. And yes, it can be a bit more complex and people can make more mistakes. That's the only problem with having a more complex offense is it's more mistake prone. But the dividend is you have an offense that keeps the defense guessing.
It keeps the defense guessing, and guessing leads to frustration. And when you do that now, and that's what I'm saying, like you said, if it's so basic, you leave a defense confident. Now they're like, well, shit, we know what they're going to do. There's nothing, there's nothing to fear. So we get that going. That's the kind of offensive coordinator I want. And I want an offensive coordinator that is going to have the balls to be like, Bowles, you handle the defense. I handle the offense. Don't worry about my shit. Don't even question me. Like, the only reason if you question me is if I'm just doing a piss poor job. But this is me. I got this. You worry about your cushion ass defense. That's how I need a guy like that. I need a guy to go.
I mean, I'd be interested to know how much he did get involved. I'd be interested to know.
Hey, I hear you. I just think we need somebody with the Arians mindset, attitude, and accountability and confidence. We need that. We need a Bowles. That's hey, you defensive guy, right?
Yeah, and that's for the most part. The defense loves him to pieces, so I'm not too like we've always said that we're not as worried about the defense. He has made a few blunders in decision making, but
overall,
as a whole, the defense has been good for all his half the year that Jameis was there, because it took them half a year to kind of, I think, to understand the scheme. Second year they were great. I'd say the defensive backs struggled. Third year into it, I'd say the defensive backs were just beat up. This year, the defensive backs are great, and the pass rush wasn't as good, but it was still good enough. So you know his defense is going to be, and he's always been known for, even when he was the head coach of the Jets, his defenses were always competitive and aggressive. So you're not as worried about the defense. As long as he can keep that defense humming, and I'm interested to see if he brings himself a play caller in. So he takes a bigger step away.
Could be. I wouldn't be surprised.
But they did ask him about it, and he said, I didn't have time to bring somebody in.
Yeah, I definitely would like to see what Bowles does. This will determine if he comes back the year after. If he can get
this is your head coach. He's a head coach. He's got to make these decisions.
Yep. If he can do something, and again, like I said, he keeps this defense top 10, and he leaves the offense alone, and the offense mess around and become above average. I would say, hey, Bowles, I officially embrace you.
I give anything for us just to average 24 fucking points.
Average 20, and with this offensive receiving core you have, that's not too much to ask. You're not asking
even 23. What, 3 touchdowns and 2 field goals? Job done.
Exactly.
You're gonna win a lot. You're gonna win a lot of games.
Exactly. Well, and speaking of that, we broke things down tonight. I appreciate it. Like, this was, man, too good. This was 2 productive hours. So
yeah, but I gotta go, man. It's about 4 o'clock in the morning.
No, yeah, get some rest. And guys, again, if you want to see my message to Brady, it's about bucking time. Also on TikTok, FlexLuthor_813. That is also for Instagram and Twitter. Is @Turner_24. And again, Slick, always a pleasure talking good football with you. You take it easy, my man. All right. All right. Later.
Catch you soon.
Catch you soon.
Okay, guys, that is the end of the show. That's pretty much what we got. Buddy Ryan was in a fight on the sideline, but he coached defense. No OC got those balls. Okay. Look, it's all to be seen for this Buccaneers football team and what we're going to do and how we're going to change things. Whether you want Brady to come back or not, that's still going to, one of those things is still going to come into fruition. Who we go with it, quarterback, is still going to be up for this debate, and who we pick in the draft. And I'm going to be honest with you, I will take no notice of who we should be picking in the draft until free agency is done, because this free agency has the Buccaneers with one offensive star, one offensive star, as I can tell, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defensive starters. That's a total of 6 starters not playing for the Buccaneers, and you know that they're going to go and go and find themselves another field goal kicker. So that's a lot of positions to fix. So I'm not going to worry about what we're going to take in the draft until free agency is done, because let's face it, Clack for White, 5 White, you might be right, and we end up going for somebody else, because we end up going for the Bama guy, because we find something else in free agency. So we've got to see what the Buccaneers do. They've got to get themselves out of cap hell. They've got to see what Tom Brady wants to do, and they've got to get this offensive coordinator probably nailed in the next couple of weeks, I would imagine. It's always a pleasure, never a chore. We'll continue to do these shows as and when. Big love to you guys, and thank you, Clack 5 White. Much appreciated for you chiming in. Sorry we didn't get any of your all your comments out, but if you ever want to come on video, brother, you're more than welcome to. We'll bang the link out, and you can come on and have a rant. It's a passion-based show where everyone just shows their fandom and their opinion, give out their opinion on what they like and what they don't like. Always a pleasure, never a chore. Bucs on me, Bucs on 3. 1, 2, 3. Go Bucs!